contact with both of their family members. Look, and they have that guiding hand and influence from an active dad. A whole lot of those kids will bypass the juvenile justice system. They will stay focused towards some goals and perform well academically, athletically, not become teen parents. All of these things can have a major positive impact. But how often does the family court try to help a dad who's saying, hey, Your Honor, I'll pay the money. Just make sure I can see my kid. No, what the dads tell me year after year, they say, man, I went there to court, man, they wouldn't even let me talk.
Yeah.
Because look, what he didn't know was it is incumbent that you learn the rules before you step into anybody's house. Look, the court is a house. They have rules of the court. They have rules of civil procedure. You have to speak the language. And if you don't speak the language, you got to learn the language, or you got to get you somebody who can speak the language, right? Who knows how to use the law, right? But too often, I've seen dads do so poorly again and again is they think this is something they can fly by the seat of their pants and wing it on and just go in there and say, Your Honor, let me hold my hand up. Your Honor, can I please explain to you what had happened? And they don't know that you got to file your motions. Look, you got to file your motions at least 30 days before court in writing, serve the other side about all of the issues that we are going to address. When we do get to court, give them a chance to respond to it. Then you might have to do a counter response to their response to your previous statement. And finally, when all of that stuff gets trimmed down to these are the facts, these are the issues, and this is what we're going to be talking about this day in that courtroom setting. You say you want parenting time, you want to be recognized as a legally enforceable parent. We want to talk about the money. Look, it's possible to do them both in one setting, but you have to set it up that way. The last thing you can possibly do is hold your hand up. So legacy matters because for men, they understand that their bloodline might die with him.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, look, if let's say I'm the only son or I'm the last son, then that Y chromosome in my family line, if I'm the last male, there will be no more of the Y chromosome unless I have a son. Now think about that for a second. As males, we consist of an X and a Y chromosome.
Right.
Kids, as our girls, they consist of an X and an X chromosome. So everybody gets half from mom, they get half from dad. But all of the men on one paternal side of the family, well, you could trace that Y chromosome all the way back up to the first man. By conversely, you can trace the X chromosome back on the mother side. You can trace maternal lineage like that. But when we look at the family law industry, they treat it as if only the mother matters.
Right.
Only the mother's influence on the child's life matters. But yet you see these harsh and critical ads by various child support agencies, the Office of Attorney General, the District Attorney's Office, deadbeat dads. I was like, that's bull feathers. Because there's a whole lot of dads, they're suffering from imputed income, meaning they set that guy's child support based on an arbitrary figure that they have literally pulled out the sky. If you got a man who's never made 10 grand a year in the last 10 years, but you got a child support judgment against him for $100,000, come on, man. We don't have to be geniuses to figure that. There's no way you could have set an order that would have consumed 100% of his gross earnings. Sadly, yes, men are income producing property of the state.
Right.
Because as we get more of them in, it counts toward our metrics on how well we run our child support money machine. I'm calling it that. You can hate me all you want to. You can dislike it. Disprove the facts. The facts are they get credit based on how many they get signed up and how much money they collect. There's two metrics that are most important to them. Getting them signed up, or we get a default order against them. One of those two ways, we gonna get it. Next, how high can we set the order? And here's another problem where a lot of men fall, and they get this, they create a problem for themselves that they can't extricate themselves from. They do not understand there is a huge difference between how much you love your child and how much money you pay your baby mama. Him trying to be good-natured and generous, paying more, like Brother Al talked about, the guys was what? Paying $700, right? Mm-hmm. Way above what the guideline was. And that still wasn't enough in the eyes of the mom. Why did those women take the guy to the court? Because they wanted more money, right?
Right.
Fortunately for them in Brazil, the law were much more compatible to what? Rational thinking instead of a excessive enrichment. Because I'm going to say this, in the U.S., in my humble opinion, the child support awards are over and above the actual cost for raising a child. Because when my son used to live with me, I could cover paying for him, his mama, myself, my food, my cars, all of that. But as soon as she was out my house, my son cost me as much as my house payment. Oh. Are you feeling what I'm saying?
Wow.
Fruit Loops. Is she gonna feed them Fruit Loops and Pop Tarts?
and the disheartening thing that really got under my skin was that I could pay her without a court order. Same with the young lady who duped me on the child that wasn't mine. I would pay the money without a court order because I'm a responsible guy. But I don't expect no hassle. You hear me? I don't expect no hassle in being able to see the kids. But I'm going to tell you, the way the systems are working today under the influence of radical feminism, where they got the go girl power. We don't need no man. Well, I'm saying y'all are dishonest on that one, because if you ain't need no man, leave our money alone.
Right.
Said, go get you a job, increase your marketable skills, get your butt out there and do like I did when I was studying 6 days a week, working 3 jobs, and I paid my way through college to graduate in the top of my class. I had a lot of options when I came out with a 4.0 GPA.
No doubt, respect.
But you're going to tell me now I got to pay her when she didn't do nothing to help me get that.
Right.
She didn't do anything to help me advance beyond that. So yes, I say yes, men and boys are income producing property of the state, and any country who adopts America's laws or the model that America uses gonna have the same problem.
Let me ask you a question, and Al, I want you.
I'm sorry. Listen, I got a brother out there, a good brother I know out there. His name is Gil. I want to link y'all up because what he does is a lot of court watching. He goes and sits in cases and stuff, man, and starts breaking that stuff down to help brothers pass on information and help cut some of that cost down. Like you said, be prepared when you come in there. Just don't raise your hand because you think, well, this is court. I'm going to get fair justice, and I'm going to just go in there and raise my hand. And when it's my turn to speak, the judge would understand me, and then I'm good. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. You're not prepared in how to speak and all that stuff. You're gonna have a rough road. And you're right on that, because in the film, Frustrated too, I interviewed several white guys. And hearing their stories, I had a firefighter. I do a firefighter up in an affluent neighborhood in Scarsdale, New York. And man, when it got done with him, he had to sleep in the back of his truck. And it was deemed a potential threat to his children, had his kids alienated from him, and she was gutting him. About 70% of his income was going to maintain the household and his kid, and he had no access to his children. And hearing this guy speak and watching him break down in front of me, and I was like, wow, and so you're right, men, it doesn't matter now. It's not a color thing. It's a gender thing. And if you're a man, you're income producing for the state if you have children. Right. And I don't have any kids, and like you were saying, I'm the last son. I'm the last kid out of 7. Out of 7 kids, I got 2 older twin brothers. I'm the last out of 7, and I don't have any children. And I let my mom know, my pop passed away a long time. If you're looking for anything from me in the States, it ain't gonna happen. Right. It ain't gonna happen. You got other grandbabies. They gave you some. Play with them. Bake with them. You got enough. Anything you look at coming from me is not going to happen under this condition. I'd be damned if I would become income producing for the states.
A pawn for the state, no doubt.
My neighbors can't stand me because 3 or 4 times out of the year, I'm packing my bags and they ain't seen me leaving. I have freedom. And they know I'm out here speaking the truth and talking shit to brothers, giving them this game right here, the freedom. And I'm part of like a BMO group. Anybody listen, man, join the BMO group, man. We planning the trip in May, coming up in May, Brazil, man. We get brothers out. We do we trip for them and show them out and show them other parts of the other different countries.
Right.
How you avoid this shit here. If you can avoid this here, and you have a better chance of having a decent life, a great life. If you can,
so you teaching them defensive strategy, and that's something that happens. Look, that's something that happens in the man sphere where you have a brotherhood, and you don't have the brothers understand that. You know, man, I don't have to compete with Al. Man, Al. Look, Al is coaching in his space. I'm coaching in my space. We just need to know. All right, when this play need to be run, which brother can run that play? If we on the same team, man. We on the same look. And as far as the states are concerned, we all male that's in this show. So as far as they concerned, we're on the same team, whether we like it or not.
Right. Listen. I will ask you guys a question after I play this clip by Paternity Coach Smith. But before you answer the question, I want you to let it marinate. Is marriage in America a viable outcome? And Al, broke it down a little bit, but I want you guys to look at the pain in this brother's eye from this clip.
Okay.
And then Coach Smith, I want you to tell the guys what defensive steps they should take initially. And maybe you said it. Maybe my brain is a little slow tonight, but maybe you said it. But what initial steps should they take to keep themselves from being victims of paternity fraud and having to deal with the mental anguish of the mental infanticide of this man's experience? So I might have to take you guys off the stream. I'm going to try to play this clip and let me know if you can hear it. Okay, hold tight.
Okay.
I'm going to take you guys off. Hold tight. Can you guys hear it?
No sound, but I know that brother's, and he's a good friend of mine. I can tell you the story.
Okay, hold tight. Can you hear it? Can you hear it now?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, for some reason, it's not streaming the audio into your stream feed.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Hold on.
So when you played Brother Al's clip, was it because you got it on your local computer?
It's integrated. This is a share. I don't know why it does this.
All right. Well, no point. You can listen. You can tell folks to check out my Paternity Coach channel. It's got all of those.
Al, can you hear it? You can't hear it.
No, I can't hear it.
But you can check it out. You can check it out yourself.
All right.
Well, let me respond to your question.
It's a horror story.
Listen. I can tell you the guy's story. I know him. He's the one who introduced me to Bishop Mack. This is my good friend Murray Davis. He is the founder of Dads of Michigan. He's one of the founders of Dads of Michigan. That brother, at the time of his divorce, his mother and his sister told him, Murray, you need to check the paternity of the 2 younger kids. We don't believe those kids are yours.
They go Big Mama. Big Mama, no.
Big Mama and his sister. And he, based on their recommendation, he got that testing done. And sure enough, his best friend, who was a multi-millionaire car dealership owner, is the daddy of them 2 kids. So did his wife forget she was married? Not one time, a couple of times. Produced a boy and a girl. So y'all know Murray did complete that divorce. That just kind of hastened the whole thing. And Murray was an executive at IBM at the time. But that wasn't that. Listen, but that didn't hold a candle to his so-called best friend who has car dealerships, multimillionaire. And he give this information to the court. And we were like, well, listen, if it's about money, then the kids will get more money if you make their millionaire daddy pay, right? Nope. Michigan still held on to the marital presumption. Any children born while you married to her are automatically yours. So he tracked me down after he saw I got paternity fraud legislation passed in Georgia, Florida. I provided the basic draft for California, for Texas, Wyoming, Oregon, Washington State, a few others, Oklahoma. He wanted to get this legislation passed in Michigan. And man, there's some radical feminists there in the Senate there that said, man, we don't care about the men. They said we only care about the kids. And one heifer said, well, you men need to keep your pants zipped up. I said, you idiot. Paternity fraud proves it didn't have nothing to do with that man's zipper, you moron.
And he's married.
Married. I says what it proves is the irresponsibility of his wife, who she broke her vows, the expectation that she'd be loyal, that she'd be faithful, that she would keep her word and her vows. And look, if she want to run the streets and if she want to belong to the streets, let her divorce her husband and then let her go run the streets so that then anything she pick up out in the streets, she can be responsible for it out in the streets. But if you're going to bring the streets conduct into your house, then she should be held responsible for it. I mean, that's only reasonable, right? But you asked my question. You asked a question about defense, right? So defense, the greatest problem that men face in family court is that it is a minefield, and many of them are unaware of how it really plays out. So with paternity fraud, it's all of the other bad stuff. We're getting raked over the coals for child support, but now it's getting done for a kid that's not yours, and they're not going to let you see this kid. Even if you were willing to voluntarily do things for the kid, as long as you were allowed to see the kid, meaning not put money in the mother's hand. If I was going to take the kid out and take her shopping, I'm buying it for her directly because I already have a relationship. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Relationship. When I presented that to them, they said, nope, not unless you pay for a supervised visitation. I'm like, you out your mind. You done duped me for the kid that's not mine. You're not going to even allow us to still see the child. And you sue me in court to make me pay after I get 2 DNA tests proving that you lied. So defensive strategy, number one is you can only avoid a trap if you know a trap exists. So a huge number of men and boys, they get inducted into the child support system and paternity fraud at signing a paternity confession. They call it the voluntary acknowledgement of paternity. Mm-hmm. That is one place where you can get a guy to sign a legally binding obligation with no proof that he did it. Could you imagine me saying, I want you to accept responsibility for a car accident for a car that's the same color as yours?
Carnell, hold tight, brother. I think I got it now. Hold tight. We're going to try it now.
Okay.
All right.
Tonight. New at 11.
Yeah, I hear it.
The man finds out he's not the
Turn
father
it up.
of kids. Tonight's big story is a Father's Day surprise.
It's turned up.
For years, his kids called him dad, but now he's learned the shocking truth. In a story you'll see only on 4, the Night Beat's Roger Weber
use the bigger player.
Has another question. Should a man who's not the biological father have to pay child support? For the sake of the children, we will not show you any of their recent pictures.
I think it's wrong because if this can happen to me, it can happen to you. It can happen to any man, any father.
Murray Davis says in a lawsuit that the collapse of his marriage revealed a gut-wrenching truth. He is not the biological father of 2 of his 3 children.
I think he could be devastated. I think both children could be very devastated to know that dad's not really their father.
Davis testified that he thought for 12 years the boy and girl were his own flesh and blood. But when he filed for divorce, his mother and sister shared a horrifying thought.
Well, they said, Murray, we think that you might want to take a look at paternity testing because we suspect that perhaps 2 of your children may not be your biological offspring.
And you never suspected that?
Absolutely never.
He got very suspicious when he found an old picture of the alleged father, a man he grew up with.
As I went through the yearbook, I happened to come across his picture at the age 16, 17, I believe, and the resemblance that he had with my then 11-year-old son was incredible.
But Davis wanted to be sure. He secretly arranged for a blood test for the kids, never telling them the real reason.
The blood test showed that there was 100% certainty that I'm not the biological father of the 2 younger children.
What was your reaction when you got the news that you are not the father?
Absolutely devastated. I cried for days.
Wow.
Literally.
His ex-wife, Marcia, declined to be interviewed, but her testimony in the divorce trial was recorded by court-operated cameras. She paints Davis as a workaholic who ignored his children and may have suspected all along they were not his.
Did you ever tell Murray Davis we're not his kid?
No, Murray and I never discussed it.
But apparently the children had no idea that Davis might not be their father until their mother told them last December.
I had to sit down and explain to them everything. I said, no more lies. This is it. The kids now understand everything, and they're very hurt.
Davis says it's no contradiction that, on the one hand, he still wants visitation.
They mean everything to me. They're our kids.
Does this change that relationship?
No way.
But on the other hand, he's fighting a court order that he pay child support.
But I just cannot accept that we've gotten our society to a place where you can be ordered to do things that are against the law.
Judge Barry Howard will make his final ruling on the case this week. Davis says he wants to support the kids, but it should be his choice. He may also sue the biological father.
What has this been like for you?
It's been tough, extremely tough, because of the pain is constant. You always are thinking about the times you had with a family and waking up in the mornings and playing with them, going on vacations. You think about all those things. And then you know that that's not going to be exactly like that ever again. I think what's so unfair is not knowing the truth. The fact that I was never told.
Now, Davis says he knew the alleged father had an affair with his wife early in the marriage, but he thought the affair was over by the time the 2 children were conceived. And he's angry about one more thing. Around the time of the last pregnancy, Davis had a vasectomy. He says he would never have done that had he known the truth, Carmen.
Wow.
Well, this has got to be a tough call for the judge. What does he have to consider in this case?
Well, first off, he has to decide whether Murray...
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
There's a lot more like that on my channel.
Let's talk about that.
You want to chop that up? Did you catch her deflection?
Wow,
she did accept no responsibility.
Yeah, I had to tell the kids the truth.
Yeah.
And
reluctantly.
On the defensive side of it, when he found out she was unfaithful to him early in the marriage there, then, you know, he should have took some action there. I'm not saying
he forgave her. He forgave her, and she said she wasn't going to do it again.
No, I'm good. I'm finished.
Yeah. No, I ain't going to let you get me twice.
Look, I'm with y'all. I'm with y'all. Yeah. She would have been fired.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was a double whammy.
And that's what the message that I try to tell, especially young boys. Whether you're dating a girlfriend or whatever, she step out on you, and you find out whether you can forgive them and move on.
Right.
You move on. And I try to tell them, don't play the victim role. Like, oh, look how she did me or whatever. She just not who she thought you was, who you thought she was. She wasn't that kind of individual. So keep it moving, and you'll find the right one. Don't accept that. Don't accept that from anybody. To say, oh, I'm sorry, baby. I did. I got lonely. You work. I'm working to maintain the household. You need to need all this, and this is how I get rewarded. This is how I get rewarded for my hard work. So once you see that you're not being appreciated, man, I try to stress that to the young boys, man. Keep it moving. Just keep it moving. She's not worthy. She's not worthy of your time. She's not worthy of you. And just keep it moving. I would recommend a good defense, man. You go down to the local post office. I know the post office may have some issues right now, but they had them passport applications. Fill one out. Fill one out.
No, you're right. I mean, I told you.
It comes in about 4 weeks. You'll get it in the mail. Nice. It's a beautiful book. And you write your own story in that book. It come in empty.
Right.
You fill out the page, tell your own story. You can tell the story you want to tell about your life. You fill that up any way you see fit.
Right.
Because the way you're going to use that, you're not going from here to Miami, meeting the same kind of situation. You guys not going here to California. You're leaving. You're going across borders.
Yes. Yes. Right.
You write your own story. You're the director. You're the producer. You're the director. And you're the star actor in it. And you tell your own movie. You tell your own movie. Hey, if you see mine is beautiful, boy. Mine's beautiful. Because I was told when I released Frustrated 2,
right.
I listened as a documentary. They told me I should put that under horror. That was a horror flick. Did you get the same response for your book? That you should have put that under horror?
Actually, folks been telling me, said this should be part of the men's playbook series.
Okay, I was told mine should be under horror because it's scared them. Yeah, it gave a lot of dudes nightmares. But I told man, don't do that. Just take the information in, break the information down, and use whatever you can use from it, and put that in your playbook, man. And it'll help you out. It'll help you avoid a lot of sorrow, a lot of financial difficulties, and I'm a big component. Go down to that post office, fill out that application, and 4 weeks you'll see you a beautiful book. It's a beautiful book. You write your own story, your own film, your own flick. You producer, director, and actor. Star you. And you can pick your co-stars. You can pick anything you want. Your location. You set your location. You do all that stuff, man. So, you got to play defense to that, man. And I see brothers. Just to share a funny story. I was in the supermarket with my brother. My older brother. Me and my older brother went to the supermarket. He don't have any kids either. One of my older brothers don't have any kids. So we was in there. And nice young lady, look, nice body, very voluptuous. And she couldn't reach the top display they had. And she didn't want to pull it from the bottom so it all fall on her. So I reached over and when I'm in the supermarket, I like to look at women's carts. Because you can see all them damn little intimate bites and little Lay's snack cakes and all that shit and all that stuff in there. So you know what's going on. So I reached over and see them Capri Suns and all that stuff. So I got it for her. She said, thank you. You're such a gentleman and all that stuff. Anything I can do for you? I looked at that card. I said, not a damn thing you can do for me. Man, you cold, man. Damn thing she can do for me. I see what's in that card. I've been there. I'll actually help finance that one day. No, I can't finance that.
Listen. If Brother Al Greaves is a Harriet Tubman of male rights, I'm gonna nominate Brother Smith as the Frederick Douglass because he's an intellectual for Paternity Fraud. So you've been nominated.
That's my guy.
Right, you're the intellectual. So I'm gonna call you the Frederick Douglass of leading one man at a time to freedom. We're gonna play this clip real quick, and we're gonna expound some more. Hold tight. We're gonna play this clip when Brother Carnell Smith was on Dr. Phil, and then I want you to break it down to the audience what you were talking about when you were on the Dr. Phil show. Hold tight.
Okay.
All right. Hold tight.
All right, here's a question today. Should a man ever be forced to pay child support for another man's baby? Now, Carnell Smith calls himself Man for Justice and says that he is tired of seeing women fraudulently trap men and get away with what he calls the perfect crime. Take a look.
Paternity fraud is a big problem. It has already happened to over 1 million men. In my case of paternity fraud, my ex-girlfriend called me one day, told me that she was pregnant. And I told her, congratulations. I hope you and your baby's daddy be very happy. But then she says, but you're the father. I paid child support for 11 years before I found out the child wasn't mine. I was cuckolded. Cuckolding is the term that the cuckoo bird lays its egg in another bird's nest and lets another bird raise its young. I got 2 DNA tests. Once I found out that the child wasn't mine, I contacted my lawyer and says, I'm not going to pay her another dime. My ex-girlfriend asked the court specifically to put me in jail and make me pay the money that I had not paid. That infuriated me. When I went to court, I felt that at that point, I should be able to win my case with 2 DNA tests. I didn't lie here. We can prove I didn't lie, and we can prove who did. And the judge says it's my fault that I didn't find out sooner. It's pay or go to jail. That was a bit hard to take. I appealed that to the Georgia Court of Appeals. They refused to let me appeal it. I refer to paternity fraud as the perfect crime because the victim gets blamed for the conduct of the other party. I never felt like giving up the fight. I was very effective in advocating position for the Georgia paternity fraud victims. I ended up getting a bill that frees men who've been falsely accused of a pregnancy they didn't commit. My tagline is, if the genes don't fit, you must acquit.
All right. So let's talk about that clip, man. What was going on in that clip, and what advice would you give to the men based on?
All right. Well, that clip led to a spirited debate. I had a debate with radical feminist attorney Gloria Allred on the stage live, and according to the audience, I won that debate. Mm-hmm. What went on there was we have opposing views. See, her view was that, well, the men are responsible because the woman said he did it. My position is we should be going for what the truth is and not asking the mother a thing. Since a judge is called the trier of fact, let's do DNA testing at birth and at the first court hearing for every birth so that men and boys won't have to rely on whether or not the mother will tell the truth. Because we know some of them have lied so much in their relationship that they probably couldn't tell the truth now. If you started spelling out for them TR, you know, they wouldn't even be able to complete the rest of the sentence for you. But the hard fact is this. I was there with one of my clients who had been duped. He was a doctor. He was on staff at 2 hospitals. His wife had an affair at the school where she worked at with a man of a different race. And using lookalike technique, she managed to persuade my client that the kid was just slightly darker due to genes in her family. Yeah, I see. Yeah. But you know what my DNA test proved though? It wasn't just that baby was slightly darker. That baby had melanin in that baby's skin. And as you can tell, I'm highly melanated, right? I think the real baby's daddy had somewhat of these type of dosages of melanin. And she was jacking my guy for about $3,000 a month, and he didn't want to pay it. But the person who contacted me to help him was his second wife, who said, I think the first wife is playing my guy for a fool. So I got him on the show, her, the other folks. And what we wanted to point out is that this is not rare. There are a whole lot of women doing it and girls, some of them doing it by accident, and some of them are doing it on purpose. Now, me and Dr. Phil, we don't share the same view on what came out at the end. Was that I say we should start with the truth first because there should no time limit on the truth. Mm-hmm. And there should be no money discussions from anybody till we first confirm what the facts are. Now, he said the kid comes first. And I said, well, think about this.
That makes no sense.
That makes no sense because the only person whose freedom at risk, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and their property is the guy whose name is on that child support order. So if it's a man or boy whose name is on that child support order and he's confirmed this kid is not his life, his liberty, and his property is at risk. He should be able to constitutionally protect his life, his liberty, his pursuit of happiness, and his property. That's my position. Now, what can we do defensively? It all depends on when you make this discovery. The hardest part of doing this is if you've already signed a paternity confession document, or there's already a court order in place. Meaning, if there's a divorce decree, or they've already sued you and gotten a default judgment against you, you would be surprised at the number of guys who don't go to court when they know that, wait a minute, man, that girl put my name down. Man, I didn't touch her. Shit, man, she lying. And he doesn't go to court. He doesn't understand the defense, offensive strategy mindset. He says, well, man, I got other stuff to do, man. I ain't taking no day off from work. And by not showing up, he will get signed up for 18 to 21 years of payments, plus life if that child ends up being disabled. So defensively, you got to take steps before a court order exists and before signing an acknowledgement. So if you're a single guy, you don't sign nothing admitting that you caused the pregnancy till the test results come back in your hand. They saying over 99.9, and you don't have an identical twin, or you part of a triplet or quintuplets or sextuplets, because that'd be interesting. All of those guys will come out at the same DNA results, right? But other than that, the next defensive strategy for you to do is that a lot of men are resistant to taking the test because they're scared to look under the rock. Right. And they don't understand how bad it gets when you have a window of opportunity to get all of the facts. What the court will do and what the prosecuting attorney will do on the other side, they'll say, but Your Honor, hey, we offered him a chance to take a look under the rock before, and he declined. So there are time limits that are happening in many states between ages 2 to 5 for the children. And guess what? And these time limits are not published. You got to go look for them. You have to know to look for them and then find out what your state situation is. I'm like, man, all of that complexity about when do you file? What step are you in the legal process? Is there an existing order? Are you under a final divorce decree? Has she moved states? And now you got to figure out what state has the right jurisdiction. Where do you file? All of that stuff can be mitigated by when the baby gets born, you go get you a test with you and the baby.
Right.
A whole lot of men think that, man, I got to have a court order to get a legal test. That is not what makes a test a legal test. Let me explain why, in my professional opinion, you should not get a home test. The home test, you can pay the $30 at the local drugstore, get the test, and put your extra $115 with it for a lab processing fee. Mm-hmm. But when you get those results back, and if you need to take a legal step with those results afterwards, you have a problem.
Why is that?
Those test results are not legally admissible because there's no proof of identity of whose samples got sent in. So if you wanted to be the dad and she didn't want you to be involved, she could dispute your test results saying these are illegal or not illegal, improper. And I've actually, I caught a case where a woman actually was about to lose custody. So she brought in her girlfriend's kid. And of course, our client didn't match that kid. And since the samples weren't taken at the same time, he didn't get to see whose child got tested. And he just couldn't believe that the baby that got tested wasn't his. So we did a second test that was monitored by us and our company, which now required all of the parties to be physically present, photographed, fingerprinted, and bring in state issued ID. And look, and compare the genetic profile of the second test with the genetic profile of the first test. Can y'all say the brother caught him?
You
Caught that, got her, nailed her butt. Cause look, that first kid did not even match her DNA profile. The second kid didn't match the first kid's DNA profile. So now we know we had two different kids, and we have a kid that didn't even match the mother. So that meant she brought in a ringer. And we asked his legal team, says, you guys should press the issue. She tried to commit a fraud upon the court, and the court should be offended. Guess who won custody of his biological child? All because she tried to play that sleight of hand stuff. Look, what I'm saying here, and I'm alluding to, is the DNA testing can be a powerful tool in the hand of one who knows how to use it.
Right.
Preemptive strike, get it done before there's any court stuff involved. Preemptive strike, don't ask her for permission. Man, look, if you would take your kid to the doctor without letting her know, I got my test done while I had the kid in my possession.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what Murray Davis did as well. He and I both laugh about that. Because think about this. France has passed a law that says you can't get a DNA test without the mother's permission. Did you hear that, Al?
Yeah.
Now, when is she gonna give permission when if she in France and she living like the France, if she Frenching, I mean truly Frenching, and I mean more than kissing, then it's a possibility that somebody else could be that baby's daddy from the word go, right? What's the possibility she gonna give you her permission and authorized consent to confirm whether or not she told the truth? Look, there are other states, even in the U.S., who want to look at that legislation and claim it's in the best interest of the children. You want to hear something false here? Best interest of the child to not let the alleged father confirm whether or not that's his child. He should accept it because she said he did it. She said he did it, therefore he did it, and his job is to come up with the money. A lot of men do not find out the kid are not theirs until well after age 5, when the kids start looking like their biological father.
Right.
So people who try to eyeball this thing and use the lookalike test, listen, I said, look, the lookalike test is proven to be highly inaccurate.
Right.
Hey, I've been in other states and other countries, and people talk about, they were sure they knew me. When the truth of the matter is, I happen to have a face that resembles a face like another brother that they know. Maybe,
right.
That guy keeps his hair cut low and shaves his mustache and his beard off. And just based on the lookalike, well, shoot, we could nail quite a few people on just a lookalike, right?
Right. It's called microchimerism. A lot of times if the woman is sharing her body with multiple men, it's a possibility the DNA of another man could, possibly intermix with the other man. Let me ask you a question, and and we're gonna sign off in a few minutes because I'm an old man. I gotta eat. But I've enjoyed this conversation with the Frederick Douglass of male empowerment, and also the Harriet Tubman. And so back to your question about the paternity test. So you're saying you're saying not to use the adenosine test to take the child.
Listen. The same company owns adenosine got bought by DNA Diagnostics.
Okay.
Reason I know, I did business with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, knew the CEO, and one of the things that I said to them in their marketing department, you guys don't do enough tests. Because as it stands today, there's only roughly about 440,000 DNA tests are being done annually, and over 110,000 males tested turn out to not be the father. So between 1 in 4, 1 in 3 of the guys who get tested turn out to need to be the dad. So why do I make the distinction with the home test versus the legal test? If you need to take the next step, and let's say you are the dad, you can't use that test to help you with getting legitimation custody of the kid. So if you turn out you not the dad, you can't use that test to prove you didn't swab somebody else's kid or you swabbed the dog just trying to get out of paying child support.
Right.
Proof of identity, chain of custody and collection of the samples all the way through to the laboratory, through each step in the laboratory. And then for like my court cases, those results were sealed and we had to deliver those results straight to the court. Like I did for NFL offensive lineman. It was the Players Association that talked that brother into getting the test. But listen, he got injured. He got put on injured reserve. So his cash flow took a dip. So he's trying to conserve his funds while he recuperated. And the girl who he thought was his girl, she sicked the dogs on him, man. She went and filed a motion for child abandonment on him in Georgia, which is a criminal charge, mind you. Man is just getting off of injured reserve. He's trying to get rehabilitated so he can get back to play for the Ravens. Huge, brother. When I say huge, I think Cuz had a 21-inch neck. Look, he could make a hole in the door for you. All right. But that man cried in court because we told him his Players Association was quite right that he should take the test and that he didn't have nothing to lose, because if she was telling the truth, all the test would do was confirm that. But if she wasn't telling the truth, and since his freedom was at risk that night in court, then the defensive play right now is tell the judge you want to take that paternity test. And we sent the results to court. The court made him come back, brought her back. I knew the results. I was banned from disclosing no bad boys until after the judge read them to him in open court. This man stands there in court and he says, go ahead, John, read them to me, man. I already know. I know that little boy. He mine. And the judge said, and probability of paternity is 0.0%.
Wow.
This big 300-pound guy wept and cried in open court.
Wow.
He was hurt. Look, what you say about the betrayal, man, this is not a surface betrayal. Man, she cut him so deep because then he told me what all he had done for her. He said he had paid for her undergraduate degree.
Wow.
He paid for her graduate degree. He paid for a condo and bought her a car. All because he thought that 5-year-old little boy was his. And then when he just needed a little bit of help and support from her while he could get his money back up to when he was going to be playing, what did she do? She went full nuclear earth on him and filed child abandonment as if he had never done anything for the child. See, and by the way, I tried my best to talk that brother into suing her for fraud, emotional distress, and recoupment of damages. And I had the legal team that could do it. He was just so happy that after results came back at 0%, he said, but I don't have to deal with her trifling behind no more. And he just walked. He just walked away from it all.
She's lucky because sometimes that may lead to a second Bronco chase. Going that's that means you see another Bronco chase. They got grease back.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, she's not worth it. She is not worth a 6x9 sale for 5 to 10.
The mental state, man. The mental state, and you look at how you extended yourself to that individual. And,
I know.
His stories about that. Scott Peter said, you want to go fishing? You want to go fishing? And my baby girl, I don't know what happened to her. You can't play. Women play a dangerous game when you play with men like that.
Right. Hey, you know Scott's girlfriend Amber Fry, right? Remember Amber Fry?
That's Caruso's girl.
Was it Caruso's girl?
That's Ray Caruso's girl. Amber Fry from out there in Colorado.
Well, no. That's not Ray Caruso's girl.
No. Amber Fry committed paternity fraud against her boyfriend.
Okay, yeah, and
Attorney Glory Allred represented her. But what you're hearing from, look, as we talk here, there are many cases, but there are many more because a lot of guys don't get tested.
Right.
A lot of them, in spite of advice from even a family member, will go and sign that paternity acknowledgement form. And these days, those forms have been modified. You can sign that form and not pay attention to the small print. And the small print says you are waiving your right to challenge paternity in the future, and you are waiving your right to a DNA test. So it's entrapment. Look, I call paternity fraud. Look, which is why I named my book Trapped by Law.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think of law as being used to like be part of a trick and trap scheme. But in this case, men and boys who are unaware of how the law works, then your ignorance of the law gets used against you. And then you're being told you can't use your ignorance of the law as your defense.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's like, look, can you see the circle goes this way and then the circle goes that way? Well, say, wait a minute. The mother is the only person who knew that she had multiple paternity candidates within that child's window of conception. Why isn't she required to divulge that information to the court? And then you test the list. Don't take her word for anybody. Test the list. And look, a lot of men and boys, teen boys as well, they decline to take the test because they don't want to make her look bad. Sure. And I'm telling them, like, bro, you can't be concerned about her. You don't know what emotional, mental, psychological, and financial hell you are signing yourself up for, because they're going to treat you like income producing property.
Right. Well, listen, guys, this has been an excellent show. To the ladies in the audience, I want you to be intentional about understanding the struggles that young boys and men go through, especially if you got sons, as being victims of paternity fraud. So before we go, Brother Al Guiz, I want you to take us to the bridge, man. And being the Harriet Tubman of male empowerment, I want you to take us to the bridge. What did you get out of this intellectual expose by the paternity coach, Carnell Smith? And Coach Smith, I want to bring you back because you got so much information. 2 hours just ain't enough. I want you to be more, we're going to break it down. I'm going to have more intense questions, and I got to have you back again. But what did you get out of this expose? And I want you to break it down for me real quick.
I salute the brother, because when I was putting Frustrated 2 together and doing the research, I salute the brother because I didn't know some of these laws had been changed and that he was able to challenge that system and beat it and got some laws changed and put on the book, especially in Georgia. So I salute you for that, brother. And I commend, I hope brothers, especially young men, get a hold of his book. I'm going to reach out to get a copy of it too.
Trapped by Law.
That's
the name of the book.
I think the next step for you should be to fight to get that put in school books and teach that in sex ed for young boys, coming up and taking sex ed and starting off at the sophomore, junior, senior year. They need to put that out there, man. Get these young boys equipped with some knowledge before they go out there and start dating. And one of the scariest things, one of the cases that I saw that was crazy was the teacher who had sex with a student, and when he was young, he was 16, young, and then when he became an adult, he got hit with child support. Didn't even know it's statutory rape. So men are also statutory rape. Women who commit crimes against them are forced to pay for it as well. And you guys need to really understand that it's a income producing for the states, man. And we both agree on that. We know the money trails and where the money goes in and getting matching funds from federal government, Title 4D program and these programs. So I salute the brother because you tackled that and you beat that, man. I salute you, man. And I live in New York, but Georgia, I spent time in Atlanta. I grew, I went to school there.
Okay.
And I'm always there, man. So next time I'm in town, man, dinner on me.
All right.
With you, man. I got another good brother out there, man. He goes in and does the trial watching.
Okay. Court watch.
Yeah, court. They sit there, does court watching and stuff, man. They start writing down stuff, and judges want to put them out, but as a private citizen, you have a right to sit in on that stuff. Information out to brothers, man. So I salute you, man. I look forward to meeting with you after this boogeyman, to get this COVID out the way, get this boogeyman out the way. We can get back to the stuff again, man.
Well,
so, very informative, man. Very informative. I salute you, man.
Very informative. Well, listen, I think he needs to tell more because it's so in depth. I think he just scratched the surface.
Yeah, he did. If you decide, I'd like to team up with you, man. If you really want to decide to make DNA testing mandatory during childbirth, and we need to.
I do. Listen, I put a press release out on it.
Okay, anything I can do, man, to assist, help. I'm here, man. I'm here. You need my info, man. That's something. Okay. Yeah, I'm willing to fight for. Put my coins up. Do whatever I have to do, man, because that's an injustice right there. And a lot of guys are just fall victim to it because they don't want to, in silent. I don't want to put pressure on them. I can't ask them. Me. Listen, I ain't signing nothing. I need tests. Yep. You know I love you, and I don't know shit. I don't know nothing. Once I get the paperwork there, then I know everything. Then I don't know nothing. You know how many times somebody told me, "Oh, I love you," or "This your stuff." Right. No, it ain't mine. You just let me have some. I appreciate it, but it ain't mine. I need paperwork. Man. So you guys need to adapt that philosophy, especially when it comes down to that, because it'll hurt you. Yep. Way down the line, man. So I salute you, brother Carnell Smith.
All right, thank you, brother Al. I'm honored. I'm honored.
Well, listen, man, I love you guys, man. I believe in the beauty of brotherhood. Oh, how beautiful is it for the brethren to dwell together in unity. And on that note, it's about 13 minutes after the hour, 10 o'clock, brother Carnell Smith. I got to bring you back again.
All right, Al, tell them how to reach me, man. Let me tell them how to reach me.
We're gonna break you back again. Check out brother Carnell Smith on his YouTube channel called Carnell Smith, right?
Paternity Coach.
Paternity Coach. Okay, on YouTube. And also check out brother Al Grease and his video. The link is down below on Frustrated 2. He's gonna be in the next movie called Frustrated 3. Maybe Al, you need to get me and Carnell out in New York, but I'm definitely planning to come out there and shoot with you. But
you guys got to open invite, man. Especially you got plenty very informative, man, good information. And I hear brothers now, especially with the economy and they're investing in this and talk about building generational wealth. But till you tackle this, you ain't gonna get no generational wealth.
It means nothing. You're right. Well, listen, it's 14 minutes after the hour. Okay. We're about to sign off. We had brother Carnell Smith once again, brother Al Grease. This show has been a power-packed show. Sending love to brother Carnell Smith, brother Al Grease, the Harriet Tubman of male empowerment. We got my man, Freddie Douglas of male empowerment. Leave the work brother the time is ready. Go check out brother Al Grease, get that passport. And just say no, because we're going to do it again, so sign it off. This is 7 Small Promotion Edition. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. Just be like we gon' be okay. We just gotta prove that I don't wanna fight. You know that I'm right. Baby, let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay. If you and I say 10 o'clock. We're about to start off with brother Carnell Smith and brother Al Grease. This has been a power-packed show. And the name of this show, once again, is called The Man Who Chronicles, episode number 18. Paternity Fraud and the Mental Infanticide of the American Man. This has been a great show. I'm always honored to help men become empowered and to deal with the negative impacts of paternity fraud and any other malfeasance that's deleterious to the psyche of man. So once again, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. Check out my YouTube channel, The Kosher Commission, and subscribe, like, and share. And let's get this movement moving. All right. Get well.